So okay, let us have a bit of a tech drop conversation because this week a couple of really interesting devices have come to my into my possession, and I want to talk to folks about it and get a temperature. See what people think about it.
Wait, before you do that, before you talk about that, because I want you to give that the proper time. Okay. Lucius Augustus brings up something that I needed to understand, like what's happening. They're unlaunching the 4080 12 gig.
Yeah.
Explain to me how that works.
They're basically unlaunching the cheaper version, and now only the two very expensive ones are out there. And instead of launching it at that 4080, it'll be like the 4070 Ti next summer or something. They'll just drop the. It's a matter of branding, right? And we can get into the weeds of it, but the long and short of it is NVIDIA is in branding hell. They have been for a long time. They've been sitting on the shelf of like all their like the succession, right? They've been sitting on technology succession for so long that when they sold you a 3080, they knew the 4090 was literally right there. It was already done, but they sold you the 3080, right, at the 4090 price, knowing that give it a year, we'll sell them the 4090, even though they could have, you understand? They're not selling what their best. They are basically setting people up, and it's getting closer. The window is getting closer and closer, and it's aggravating people more.
This is what happens when I know there's AMD, but there's no like real competition for, because they're doing this because they can get away with it.
Exactly. They are the big monster in the room when it comes to that, and that's the reason why. A quick aside: everybody keeps talking about, why did the ARM deal fall through? That's why, because they are the big elephant in the room. They throw their weight around. They do really, really egregious things. NVIDIA does, and that's why whenever anytime anything pops up regulatory wise, they want a piece out of them. And realistically, ARM specifically was a very bad deal for them to secure. Although, one thing I will say whenever I'm speaking about NVIDIA is I will give them credit in one aspect. I've had an NVIDIA Shield since 2015, and they've taken care of that small old piece of crap device even better than the Switch, which is the same chipset. To this very day, that Shield is very useful and very powerful because they keep updating it, the newest software, they just keep doing it. It's like so many years old, and it still keeps getting attention. No company does that. They'll usually just cut bait and say, hey, here's the Shield 2. No, they've been updating that thing forever. So, I respect them for that. They're doing shady things on the other side.
I am, and again, don't take this as any kind of gospel because, I don't game on PC unless I'm like under duress.
Unless it's Cyberpunk, yes.
Right. But I am skipping the 40 series and waiting for the 50s to come.
Bro, if I were you, and you don't play on PC, so it doesn't bother you, but if I were you, I wouldn't even check the specs, because if you're a 30 series user, it's literally a slap in the face. Like, it is so much of an uplift compared to your hardware you bought less than a year ago. It's just nuts. They knew they were clowning.
No, but that's how they get you. People bought the 20 series, and that was supposed to be the
but you don't get it. You don't get it. So look, when the iPhone comes out and they go, we've upgraded the hardware 20% here, 10% there. You're like, ooh, it's so much better. When it's 70% in less than a year, you're like, come on, people, you screwed us. It's like 70%. Okay, this is what I mean by this, okay? And we'll move on and talk tech proper, but what really sealed the deal for me in this, and I knew they were screwing us, was this, okay? Right now, if you were to play with your machine and my machine, which is very comparably equipped, right? If you were to play Cyberpunk right now, put everything to maximum, including ray tracing, right? You're getting like 10, 15 frames per second. Even on your 65 gigs, even with your 3080 card, even with your i9 processor and your M2 fast SSD, you're getting like 20, 30 frames, like 20 frames per second max if you're lucky. And that's because you haven't turned on DLSS. That means you haven't turned any of those things on. With this new card, with no DLSS, with no super sampling, no talking about that at all, right? Our cards, 10, 15 frames per second. The new cards, 70, 80 frames per second before you even turn on ray tracing, DLSS. You don't even need DLSS with those new cards. And they knew this when they sold you your 3080 less than a year ago. That's the egregious thing.
I mean, the 3080 was 2 years ago, but
Well, no, yes, yeah. But what I'm saying is the uplift between the two generations is so vast that they purposely sold you the 3080 at premium pricing, knowing that they had outdone it times 2 beyond.
But how far ahead of the 20 series is the 30 series? That's what you should want those upgrades.
And that's the thing. The 20 series to the 30 series was not as egregious. Right, the pricing became egregious because chip shortages and all of that. But but the tech to value perspective was right in line, and it's always been right in line. The only other time that NVIDIA has ever been out of line with it was the 10 series. I had a 1080 Ti. That thing lasted forever, and I sold it for more than I even bought it. Right, the 1080 Ti was above its reach. Right, that's a long time ago. They've never been able to get out of line until now, where the uplift is literally like 70%. In less than a year. It's a little much. But okay.
So
let us table that. Go ahead.
Yes. Last thing I'll say. Mm-hmm. Perhaps a better strategy in terms of video card shopping is waiting until the new one comes out so that you can buy the previous
years.
But top of high end last year. So you know. Now that the 40 series is out, maybe now is the time to get a 3090.
Yeah, right? Now you can look at a 3090.
And you'll still be able to do everything and almost max settings everything.
See, but here's the problem. And here's my unfortunate. I made a mistake when I said this. That 20 frames to 90 frames difference is 3090 to 4090 comparison. That's what that is. And they specifically use either Flight Sim or Cyberpunk, because those are the two behemoths performance-wise, right?
Yeah.
But it's a huge uplift. Wow. It's like a big difference.
This is how
they're doing their best to get it. You know,
they're doing their best to turn me off from PC gaming.
Yes. And I'm a big advocate for it. And this behavior makes me go, come on, guys, I can't even justify this.
But then they're going to do it to you again with the 50 series. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how we get there. But okay, let's quickly have some quick chats here. So let me and maybe this will be a thing where I will
the elephant in the room.
Oh no! Let me bring a few things up here. Let me disconnect this one, and you and I will be side by side. First and foremost, let me show off. This is here we go. Yes, this is the new pause. Stop it, slow mo. This is the finally the arrived. For those who are listening, this is the Steam Deck's official docking station, which finally arrived.
And it's not all that.
And off the top. If you bought the million and one other ones that have been in the market, presumably even this one, the older version. Yeah, yours came too. There you go. Yours came too. Yeah. If you bought the older one on the market, you didn't. The aftermarket ones are just fine. You know, the aftermarket. I happen to be in the market to get this one, and I got it. If you have it, great. If you don't have it,
I need to talk about that, right? So you already know when I got the Steam Deck, I got a USB-C hub.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is how it's connected to the PC or whatever.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, should I, and this is what is at my desk, should I change the regular USB-C deck, USB-C hub,
this one?
Right? Should I switch it for this one?
So,
because I want to have one in my room, right, so that I can play on the TV if I ever so choose, and then one is at my office where I have to do stuff when I want to get emulators and do all that stuff and go into desktop.
Okay. What I will tell you is this: if you happen to already have a dock that serves the purpose you need it to, you don't need this. It doesn't make anything different. It's the same thing. Like, I was hoping that Valve would give you something or present something here that the standard, the aftermarket folks would not have access to or would not be able to do. But this is not that. Although I will say, when it did come out, there was a firmware update that was released as soon as the Steam Deck detected this thing. It firmware updated it, meaning presumably if there's new technology, a better way of getting things done, you'll get that with this thing. Great. Whereas the other thing, when you buy it, it is what it is, and it stays that way. So if you already have a solution that works for you today, I say keep it. This is almost $100. It was like $89 or something. It's not worth the price, considering you can get a $40 one, a $30, a $20 one that serves the purpose. You know, there are certain things that this doesn't do that I wish it did do at the price. It uses USB-C to charge, but it doesn't use USB-C for transfer. Yes, it has a USB-A 3.1 protocol, so it can do that fast speed. But I wanted actual USB-C transfer, and the reason for that is my other tech drop segment that I want to quickly touch on. And I will, let me see here. Let me see if I can.
I need you to. Is this the Windows thing?
No, this is not the Windows thing. That's coming up after this one. But this is like, let's see. And I will post up this one of the YouTubers that I watch that talked about this. That's really, really good, and I appreciate him. So his name is Joshua Vega. He's from Windows. I think he used to be from Windows Central. And he does a lot of really good stuff. So let me post his stuff here. So we'll talk about this while I show his video. And the reason why I'm going to show his video is because this thing is very difficult to capture. And this is what it is. It's called the Nreal Air. And what it is basically is augmented reality glasses. It puts 103, depending on what setting you're in. Go ahead.
I don't know how long you can play somebody else's video, so maybe you don't want to keep.
No. Yeah, I'm not going to play it for long. I was just showing off just so people can see. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just wanted to. There are others out there that are basically showing it off as well. But
YouTube is very weird these days.
These days YouTube is difficult about that. So I'll put the official website on it. Here, how about that? So basically, what this thing is it's and of course the marketing will go a little crazy on you, but it is an OLED screen, and you go, how is it an OLED screen? They have teeny tiny OLED screens underneath this, and it's projected down, and it's projected out the screen. So the black of an OLED, the way OLED specifically look, you get that whole thing, but it's transparent, so you can put that in your world. There's an Android app or an iPhone app, but Android's easier as it tends to be because it's USB-C. You plug it into your phone, and you can basically AR have like you're watching the show. Maybe you like to watch the show on Saturdays. You can post the YouTube video on your wall, size of your wall, and every time you walk back past it, the show will be playing, and you can see it through here. And you've just left it on the wall, and it knows to leave it there. That's when you have the software going. They're still in beta on that one. They're still testing that. I was able to. I reached out to them and tried to get a review copy. Obviously, we're a small channel. I wasn't able to do that, but they did help me out in getting it, and they put me in their beta program to be able to get the software updates. So as this thing matures, I'll be able to check it out.
Insider Asante.
Stop it. As the reason why I'm excited about this thing, even though yes, it's in beta and all of that, what excites me about this is even as for a device that's it doesn't have to have software or nothing at all. If you're able to have a device that sends audio, video, and power through one device, meaning USB-C port, you can use this thing. And something like a Steam Deck or anything that is audio-visual, or a tablet or something like that, right? You can plug in the USB-C port. It's very hard to see. You plug it in back there, plug it in there like this, and literally plug this side into the Steam Deck, and you have a huge, big OLED screen in front of you. The Steam Deck screen goes off, and like it's monstrous OLED in front of you, and you're able to game. Now, it is of course AR, so you see through it, and you're able to see through the normal world. If you don't want that, they give you the shield thing, cover it, and all it is a big monstrous screen. So that's what this thing is. I have been using it all week, and like my initial thing was, yes, this is unabashed future tech. I don't care. I'm just gonna try it anyway. Why not? And now my thought is, it is pretty darn useful if you're a person who has a busy life and can't sit in front of your screen all day and just want a game, or you want to watch a movie. If you travel a lot, it's got a use. It's really cool. It's really
or you want to pretend like you're paying attention to something,
or you want to pretend like you're paying attention. That's right. Like I could be sitting there now. By the way, just so you know, 6-foot man, 200 plus pounds. These things they are the most normal looking glasses you'll see, but they weren't made for someone like me. So when I wear them, I look like an idiot. But still, I don't care because it's got a huge.
Why can't they make these things with designers?
Why don't they
connect with Ray-Ban or something? I don't know.
Exactly. Oh, and shout out to Web Dave Outbreak Podcast in the house. He's asking the operative question: how much? If you buy this thing today, it is, and I think before it was released, it was $299. Since it's been released, you can buy it for like $370, $379 or something. Prohibitively expensive. You don't want to buy it today. This, to me,
I was gonna say it's almost less than the Logitech Stream thing.
Yeah. To me, this is the Model S for the future Model Y, Model 3. If you understand what I'm saying.
Speaking of Model Y, I think we're canceling the pre-order.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why? Too much?
No, because my wife's lease is not up until June, and they said that it would be ready in between April and June, and now they're like, oh, you got to pick it up in December. And I'm like, F you.
They keep pushing it.
Right? Because they're not pushing it. They're I guess they're ahead of production schedule.
Okay. So they're making you make your decision sooner than you wanted to.
Yeah, but I'm not. We got 6 months left on the other lease. Yeah. I'm not gonna wait. So we're gonna make a decision again, because I am considering, instead of the Model Y, going for the Ford F-150 Lightning. That is the all-electric F-150.
See, and we'll have more electrical. We'll have more electrical car talk, because I am close to that place myself, and Tesla has basically taken over the market for so long. And while I wasn't paying attention, we have others in the market now that are kind of pretty interesting. So I'm like, let me wait until I'm ready to purchase, and chances are it may or may not be a Tesla, depending on what offerings are available at the time.
I'm going to stop you right there. It's going to be a Tesla.
Well, we shall see. But let me answer. Okay. Let me answer one of the questions here. Back from the Dead is in the chat. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you being here. He's asking, do they come with prescriptions, because I won't see them over my glasses? One of the good things that they do, and we're talking about the Nreal Air here, is they come with different nose covers things, right? As well as prescription glasses that you can literally like fit right into where you'd put the AR. So you would buy this, it would come with this, you'd have your prescription fitted in there. It would literally fit into the glasses, and every time you're looking at them, it would look through them. So they have you covered, sir. So it's not that bad of a deal. I still think like it still needs to get a little cheaper, and once it does, then it'll be absolutely like next level. You know, as it stands right now, like I'm going to be going on a big trip very soon. You put on like noise canceling headphones, you put this thing on your face, even in a plane. I'm looking forward to having like a really good time. Like huge screen. When you play, like anywhere you look, you're seeing the big Steam Deck screen, or a movie, or whatever you're trying to do. It's really awesome. So I think that's pretty cool. That's my 2 tech drop segments. We're here for the last one, and the last one is super interesting. I don't have visuals because I didn't expect that I would have to share this right now. But as it's maturing, I will share more with folks. And shout out to the man, and I know I haven't seen him in here yet, Mr. John Wolf. He put me up to this. He put me up to this, and I really went all the way in with it. Pause. This is a 512 gig USB stick, SD card, forgive me, micro SD card. On here is Windows 11 installed with everything. I mean, front end UI, everything to make it look like it's the Steam Deck UI. And literally, I plug this into my Steam Deck, and then I start and boot from this, and I'm in Windows, full Windows. You know, able to play. I was playing Halo Infinite, playing all the games with the anti-cheat stuff, full-fledged Windows. And when I'm done, pop it out, take it out, and then restart the deck, and it back into standard deck mode. So this was my weekend warrior project. I spent the last week completely configuring and doing it. The thing that's cool about this is it's not one of your standard configs where you're running Windows off of a USB, or you're installing it on here. Windows has a quick conversion called Windows to Go, where you actually install it onto the SD card itself. So you're running everything off of the SD card. So when you boot into this thing, the SD card is drive C, the local C, and everything runs off of it. And depending on the quality of the SD card, I tried it on a very crappy card in the beginning. it didn't go well at all. But then I bought a very good card, a Samsung card that does at least I think 130 megabits per second or something like that, and it runs perfectly. Runs great on the Steam Deck. Full Windows, like absolute full Windows. You can take advantage of all the Windows stuff. Play your Windows games. I got the and of course I'm going a little hard on the tech side here, but this is the Tech Drop segment, so I want to let you know. One of the weird issues on Steam is when you load into Windows, until you have Steam loaded, the controls are not detected by Steam, right? By Windows. Their control scheme does not show up in the Windows system. So there's a piece of software you can install that then gets this stuff detected. So it took some setup and some doing, and there's also like a beta UI that literally loads up Steam, and then it looks exactly like the Steam UI from the Linux side, only on Windows. So slowly but surely, long story short, we're getting to a place where we can load Windows off of off an SD card and have a full-fledged Windows experience on Steam Deck. And it's it's close to perfect. It's not quite there yet, close to perfect. I know, Mr. Everborn Saga, you are looking for that world where you can run standard Windows on this thing. What do you think? Is it too much for you, or are you ready to jump in?
Well, if I can be relegated to an SD card. Now, what is your boot up experience?
Very, very, like, actually.
No. I mean, it's your Steam Deck is off. You insert the SD memory card.
Yep.
And then you turn on the Steam Deck. Tell me exactly what happens.
And you give.
Can you demo this? Can you show this now?
I was literally about to plug this thing in and demo it for you right now. Let me do that.
Well, there we go. Let's show me how easy this is. You have to tell me what you're doing in the background. So, if there's any buttons that need to be pressed.
And unfortunately, we don't have this thing. We don't have our setup set up for like a cam experience for two cams. So I'm gonna have to show you guys.
Get the overhead cam to be.
Yeah, I got to work on that. I got
to get a better mic and a better camera so I can be back on camera.
You hold down the volume down button and the power. It makes a noise. It comes on when it boots up. Oh, hold on. Let me. Yeah, of course you have to make sure it's shut down first. It wasn't shut down. It was asleep. So never mind. Let me shut it down. So boot it up. Volume down and power. Gets it into, hey, which operating system do you want mode? Pick the SD card, and then I'll show you what happens. So it's about to shut completely down because it was already on when I did this. Hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm angling it the right way here. This is riveting listening to, but for visual viewers, I'm sure you'll appreciate this. So I'm hitting the volume down button, and I hit the power button. It makes a little Steam noise, and then the Steam logo will pop up, and then after that, it'll ask me which OS to install. There's literally two of them because the one is only the hard drive that came with it. And after that, you see a quick little blurb of something coming up on Steam, right? And it's like you give it a few minutes, it'll go through. I'm moving my screen.
Saying which one you want to install or which one you
No. It asks me which one I want to run because it's not installing from Steam Deck. It's already installed on the SD card when you insert it. So the first time you boot up, it boots up as if it was just rebooting. It won't boot up as if you're installing anything. It's very, very unique how this works. And I don't know if folks want, I can do some tutorials, or maybe I can put something out there. There's a bunch of tutorials out in the world already. Anyway, that's what helped me get this done. But yeah, the initial boot up process doesn't take long. You know, obviously you can't expect, it's an SD card, right? So you can't expect that this thing boots up as quickly as a M.2. But there you go. That's how quickly it boots up. And now you're in Windows, right? And I open it up. And there's my boot sequence. I log in and I'm in Windows, right? And I've set it up to boot up literally into Steam as soon as it boots up. So, and then I'm in the Steam UI. It's pretty useful.
Now, but the Steam UI is the desktop UI, right? You can't.
No. Like I said, there is and again, it's not ready for prime time because they're working on it. Steam is, Valve is, but there is a beta UI that looks exactly like Steam's UI on the Windows side. And it's officially Valve's UI. There's a way of doing that on any Steam machine. Like on your PC right now, there's a way I'll tell you how to do it, and you can literally put that in there. And when you boot it up, your PC looks like it's just the Steam Deck UI now. So that's what I've been using on here.
Can I see what that looks like?
You want me to, you want full demo mode today? All right, cool. No worries. I'll give you full demo.
This is what the people came for. This is what they paid the big bucks for.
The people came for full tech drop. All right, so Like every time you boot up the first demo, like when you boot that UI, it goes and re-downloads or searches for any kind of new packages that Steam that Valve is deploying, because I think they're actively working on it. The first time I found this, when I booted it up, every time I went to like settings, it would crash because obviously.
Can you go like full screen and show it and show people can see? Because
no worries. Yeah, I will. I'm letting it, because since this thing is in beta mode, like I said, every time you code it, download it, you go to boot it up, it has to get fresh bits from the internet. So it is pulling down the fresh bits now.
Now, here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is it? Oh, no. That's not what I want to ask. I'll ask that later. Mm-hmm. So this extra Steam Deck that I have here, what if I just make that the Windows device?
And see, and that's the thing. I went through all these methods in order to keep my Steam installation the way it is, so that I can mess around with Windows. Right now, I don't necessarily advocate that you blow away the original partition in favor of Windows, but there are lots of really like intelligent people, way smarter than me, that are working on that problem, and we're much further along than when we first got the Steam Decks, to the point where there's a lot of things that you can do on the Windows side that mimic what Steam OS can do as well, meaning, TDP manipulation, being able to turn down your screen resolution, all these various like techie features that help games run better, right? The thing why you'd want to do this is when people say, oh, how much of your Steam library can you use? When you're on Windows side, that's 100%. All of it. Every single one just boots. Heck, Game Pass. Native boots right there. I was playing what do you call it? The Moist game. I was playing a bit of the Moist game on there. Ran beautifully, It takes a minute. Like I said, it doesn't detect the controller right away. So there's a sub program you launch, and then it detects the controllers, and then it boots up. But I've gotten it kind of to a place where it's kind of seamless. It just boots and it just kind of works, right? So
can you get that sub program to run at startup?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can get it all to run at startup. Oh, and you wanted to see?
Yeah, I wanted to see UI.
Windows running in the Steam UI, right?
It's just Windows 10.
Huh?
Windows 10.
I moved it to the corner.
Okay.
I'm a stickler for my old school. I don't like Windows 11 in the middle.
So is this that UI? The Steam UI?
Look.
Okay.
Yeah, it's standard Steam UI, like your standard, just like you are in your normal Steam Deck, right? Only it's in Windows, and this is on actual.
And that's Windows. Just running the Steam app, but
yes.
With the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you go to like settings, if you go to places
is that post up in the chat?
Yes, sir. We see post up in the chat.
I see.
Welcome, good
I
sir.
See
oh, yes, sir. Indeed.
He's my fellow Microsoft Activision merger stalker.
Oh, and I will lean on you, sir, because I know there's latest and greatest about that. And I'm definitely gonna. I want to hear more about that, but. This has been the Tech Drop section. If you guys, and I guess I'm saying this to say, love love messing around with the tech stuff. Shout out to Mr. John Wolf. He also has a config running on this. He and I have been going back and forth.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys take all the lumps and the arrows. And then
when it's like turnkey, I'll let you know. Because I'll send you an image.
I have this vanilla Steam Deck over here. I'm not gonna dual boot. I'm just gonna have that one just be straight Windows.
You could, yeah. We're not ready yet, but when we are, like loading it on the M.2 would be awesome. Just like complete running on Windows, like and what I showed you here is not an unofficial build. This is literally from Steam, from Valve. They just haven't like promoted it yet. So if you can basically get it and run it that way. So soon enough, you will be able to do this officially, I suspect. And in that world, yeah, a full dedicated Windows Steam Deck would be pretty awesome. I'm looking for that.
Jesus Christ, I got to make my own Xbox handheld. This is disgusting.
But no, it's fun. It's a side.
No, but we talked about this, right? We said the way to make it work is to have it run Windows games, and now you'll have all you'll get all the cross-platform and save benefits and all that. You have your local whatever, and
absolutely. You get the benefits of your Steam UI, right? And you get your Windows and your Microsoft and all of that. You want to install Epic Games, you want to install anything you want. This is Windows, baby. You can install anything you want. And at the end of the day, you can then bring the shortcuts into Steam. So it's even then it's a seamless UI. Much like remember how in the emulation world you can bring like the games to look like they're part of the Steam element. Same thing you can do on the Windows side with the Windows Game Pass games. So you can literally bring Scorn into Steam and it looks like it's part of Steam. You hit play and it just starts loading up, loads the UI, the whole thing. And one thing before we drop the Steam this tech drop segment, as a matter of testing this, I played Scorn, I played more Moonscars, Halo Infinite, Power Wash Simulator. Shout out to You Suck at Parking. Have you played that? It is so addictively good. You have to play that game, bro. It is so good. Shout out to You Suck at Parking.
Listen,
I found myself in that rabbit hole for like 2 hours, man.
Listen,
it was so good.
Listen, is there a Tesla in the car? Because I could just put auto park and roll credits. Game over.
As you know, I'm a guy who likes watching like indie style development and all of that. The way they take that small idea of, hey, how do you park a car? Stop, here's the parking, and they blow it out to like ridiculous levels, and they just keep upping the ante. You're just like, how the heck? What worse could they do? Like, how else could they make this more interesting? And they just keep doing it. Y'all got to play it. It's on Game Pass, of course. Shout out to You Suck at Parking. It's very fun, very, very fun. But okay. Let us move on. This has been your tech drop section, but let's get back on board. And well, you know what? Actually, no, I'm wrong. There is still one more piece of tech drop stuff we need to discuss, Mr. Everborn Saga. You wanted to talk about the Quest Pro.
Yeah, right? I need you to sell me on this thing because I heard $1,500 and then I tuned out. So I stopped paying attention to everything about it. Explain to me what it is. Why is it $1,500? And does this give the PS VR 2 a run for its money? Because I heard the specs were still better on that. And what are the visuals like on this thing? Where is the graphical processing taking place? Is this going to be Quest 2 graphics, but with AR? Explain the whole thing.
So
talk to me like I'm an idiot.
So let me just talk to you like it's Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. Of course not, brother. No, I won't go too heavy on it. What I will tell you is, you know me, I'm the tech guy. I enjoy this kind of stuff. I had it in the pre-order cart. Like the buy button was there. I was just like, and then it vaned off, right? And every time I would put it back, I'd get like the idea of a meme in the head of my wife looking at me with the sus eyes. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, it did not happen where I actually hit that buy button, and I will tell you why. As we've discussed, there's in the world of technology, there's always the world where you have to have the Tesla reference, that you have to have the Model S's of the world in order for the Model 3s to live, right? That's the reason why the Nreal Air is a very, very unique and interesting device. It may not be for everyone today, but as these things come and working out the kinks, eventually you'll get to a place where you'll get your sub $99 a device that by and large is for the masses, right? So that's where I think they want to live with this device. But unfortunately for me, like I think and there we need to see more. We need to, there needs to be a lot more shown off here. Let me take the good stuff off the top, right? The good stuff is, say what you will about Facebook, Meta, Oculus. Mama call them Oculus, I'm gonna call them Oculus. Say what you will about them. They are pushing VR. They're putting VR on their back. So if they have hardware, and you don't even have to believe them, just look at their history, right? They are pushing VR to the point where your Quest 2 came out of the box with less features than it does now. Now it has way more features than it did before. So actually, the on-the-box quote and features that are listed on the Quest 2 could justify its increase of price. It could, because they've added so much more rendering, so much more capabilities to the Quest 2. When it first came out, it was missing a bunch of features, right? So that could be why they're justifying
fidelity, though, on this $1,500 device.
Yes. No, I hear you. and I'm getting the good stuff from the top, right right from the top. So they're at least pushing VR. So we're gonna get there. A lot can be done in software, and their hardware seemingly is a pretty good offering right from jump. But the reason why I didn't hit buy right off the rip is usually in the world where there are Model S's that give way to Model 3s later, the Model S's are justified because the technology is so tip of the spear, so cutting edge that it just has there's just no capability but to charge you more. We're talking about your HoloLenses of the world. It's $2,000 because it's $2,000.
Did you say charge them more?
No, but you understand what I'm saying. You pay for tip of the spear edge technology, right? Before the Oculus Quest was out, right? When Quest was by themselves and Facebook hadn't acquired them, they were selling really high-end headsets because they needed the technology to be borne out, right? So if you were one of the few who happened to buy in at the top, it costs you more, but you understand it and you're part of that bleeding edge, and you eventually it comes to the masses. In this specific instance, though, what they are using to justify their $1,500 price point, for me, for now, is not justifiable. They are pushing the envelope, no doubt. I'm not saying they're not, And you were asking about optics. I agree with you. Optics is I'll even say their optics is good. Are their optics next level? No, they're not. Because actually, when it comes to resolution, the PSVR 2 has higher resolution than this does, right? The Quest 2 is still lower than this. They've increased it well, and obviously they're trying to go more in a different direction, kind of not the step ladder of resolution. Oh, well, now it's 4K, so it's better. They're trying to use software and different lens technology. They have pancake lenses, which then folds the tech down, so you don't have to have such a big thing in front of your face. They can fold it down and still have very, very clear, very, very crisp technology. So they believe that even though it may not be like 4.5K because we have to be better than the last guy, it is now capable of fully being able to read text in VR, which was difficult before this, right? So they're saying that they're justified.
I do want to say something. As someone who has used the HoloLens and was kind of blown away by it at the time,
yep.
If they are saying this thing is actually doing AR, is it doing the kind of AR that HoloLens does?
Well, that's the thing. They're using different methods to get to the same result. So, because
when I heard about that partnership with Microsoft, I'm wondering if they had kind of, helped them with some patents or.
Yeah, I have a feeling that and that's the thing that most people don't understand here. Microsoft and Valve, for that matter, they're all helping each other push this VR stuff forward, from software, from hardware. So I have no doubt that if you look deep into the tech here, you will see some hands in the pot from Microsoft. You'll see some hands in the pot from interested sources that you would not be aware of, right? So that's the reason why, by and large, when technology comes out in this specific space of VR, every time it seems like they turn a new corner. They have a new piece of tech
so
that no other one had.
Let me see these specs here.
Yeah, this is the on the box spec here. See, and here's another weird thing. Max refresh rate here, 120 on the Quest 2, but only 90 on the Pro. The thing you have to understand is when the Quest 2 first came out, 72 was the base. That's all there was. There was nothing more. And eventually they got to 120 on the Quest 2. So this one starts at 90, right? Doesn't mean it'll be there forever, because this started at 72 and got to 120. So that's what I mean by as the software matures, it'll get better.
Can you scroll down to the chipset, because it seems like it's a minor upgrade on the chipset?
It's not a minor upgrade. It's not a minor upgrade, and we need Qualcomm to give us a bit more details. But the XR2 is the XR2 Plus is supposed to be like leaps and bounds as far as computational power. They're just branding it in a very odd way. It's not like I'm not expecting NVIDIA Series 3 to Series 4 differences here, but supposedly the name is a misnomer, and there's a lot more that it's doing there for the purposes of this. It justifies it, or so they say. We won't know until we play it. But the reason why I'm saying that it's justifiable is because they're using this Plus to also include foveated rendering, eye tracking, face track. There's a lot more tech on display that this thing has to deal with, and still by and large it's swimming in it. versus the Quest 2, which, you know, as you're noting, doesn't seem like too much of a bump, but it can't do half that stuff. They added more RAM and it does more. You know, higher CPU, higher GPU count, a lot more to render.
Are you actually seeing the real world in the pass-through, or is it still through a camera?
Oh, well, that's the thing. That's what you were asking. How do they do this? That's the difference between something like this, which is basically projecting images into the real world, and this one. There is obviously, if you look at the technology, if you look at the screen, there is no way you'd be able to see the real world through here. So they're basically using pass-through through the cameras to show you the real world, right? This is not AR in this way, which is augmented reality projecting like digital images into the real world. This is rendering that real world through their processing power, through the cameras in the front, and showing you what they've rendered.
So it's basically like doing AR via your iPhone, or
via your iPhone, yes, but on your face.
Does this feel like triple the specs of the Quest 2? Because this is triple the price.
This is my point. This is my point, right? Like I was a proud, and I am a proud owner of the Valve Index. It cost $1,000, right? It was a high uplift, especially at the time when where VR was when that thing came out. Right, it was the Model S of its day, and it needed to be justified in order to get to the future tech. Right, even to this day, the Quest, the Index has knuckles controllers that are still able to detect your digits individually. You can flip people off in VR, right? In addition to all these other very innovative things that it does. These specs for the Index have now been bested piece by piece by all these other technologies that come out, as it should, right? But at the time, it justified its price because it did something that nothing else on the market could do, and it was at its bleeding edge. With that said, to me, the Quest 2, the Quest Pro, I should say, doesn't exactly do that. But again, they just showed this off. They were very business focused. They barely gave it any kind of game time. So I think as more people get it in their hands, I saw Upload VR did a thing. They now have. The controllers are now not tracked by the headset, but they're tracked individually because even the controllers themselves have cameras. And presumably that would make it perfect rendering and perfect tracking. But they were saying they were having certain issues with certain tracking. It wasn't as perfect as they think it would be. It's early days, right? It's not justifying the price for me just yet. You will see me with this thing on my face, then you'll know they finally got there, because that means chances are they've started churning it out and it'll get better. On the point of this versus PSVR 2, I suspect, because remember, this is still backed by one of the things that people don't really think about, because hey, this is a self-sustained VR headset. I'm sure that a link cable can still be plugged in, and you can still use this with a PC, which means it beats PSVR 2 from jump, right? Like the controls, we don't know how they'll be. We're going to wait and test out how the PSVR 2 looks. You know, I think this will still be very, very good for high-end VR, because itself, the headset itself has a Wi-Fi 6 routers. If you have a Wi-Fi 6 router in your home, you can do the AirLink, so you can really get the benefits of your PC.
You know, I really thought the PSVR 2 was going to be wireless, and that was the reason they put Wi-Fi 6 in it. It was very strange to me that it's still
there may be futures, like as we've been discussing up until now, right? They start with a certain benchmark and then they try to exceed it. There may be a world where we get accessories for PSVR 2 that then forgoes the wire. But I appreciate them being safe, at least when it comes to that, because let's be clear, you want the wire. You don't want a sometimes great, sometimes not great experience, especially when it's on your face, because that is literally the meaning of barfing. That's what that is. Right. When it comes to VR, you get what you pay for.
And Slow-Mo, when we talk about the PSVR 2, I think we have to factor in the price of the PS5, because this does stand by itself. So, and I'm still on my square that the PSVR 2 is subsidized by the price increase of the PS5. So it's going to be $349.
You're insane about your price point. It'll be at least $500. It'll be at least $500. And now it's almost like the Meta people went and had a conversation with Sony and went, okay, so you're making it this much, all right, we'll increase our price so it doesn't look weird. It's definitely coming in at $499 in my humble opinion, but the plus side of this is, I think because this has come out the way it has, and they're pushing into business, the business as much as they are, and they have not said that, oh, we're gonna like discontinue the Quest 2. The Quest 2 still exists, and there will be a Quest 3. This is the Model S to their Model 3 eventually, right? Eventually, some of the tech that's in here will make its way to a Quest 3, which will be much lower in price. This is not meant for the standard masses, right? I think the way this is coming out and the way it's looking, this gives breathing room for PSVR 2. Because even at $499, let me be clear here, even at $499, with the tech that's been presented, with the foveated rendering, with the ability for them to really push that game, that console quality gaming, these are the guys that made The Last of Us 1 and 2 on a PS4 Jaguar cores. Let them loose on a PS5 to render it, the tech for VR, and it'll be absolutely amazing. And I think because of these price points, like, PlayStation stands to win that VR crown. Like, that console with a headset combination is probably the best way to go about it still in the next 2 to 3 to 5 years. So unless it's price prohibitive, we don't know how it'll be, but I'm now even more excited for PSVR 2 because they basically have the wind at their back here. Quest is the Meta folks are like conceding the point for at least a year, letting PSVR 2 get in the market. So we shall see what PSVR does. Yes, and to the question, yes, VR is like another console. Absolutely. It's weird because if you think about it, VR is basically a monitor on your face. But depending on what kind of hardware we're looking at, like in the question of Quest 2 here and Quest Pro, all the tech is literally in front of it, right? All the tech is literally in front of it. So it's an all-in-one device. I said this a couple of days ago to somebody, and they laughed at me. The best analogy I can give you is back in the day, for my old schools in the room, the PSVR, the PlayStation, the Quest is like those TVs that came with the VCR and or DVD player built in, all in one, right? That's the Quest. You can do everything all on itself. But because it's all in one, the hardware can never be as powerful because it's on your face, right? Whereas the things like PlayStation VR or old technology from like OG ones that are tied to PCs, they take the rendering off of your face, put it on the hardware, right? So it will always be more powerful, right? And it'll always be more comfortable and lighter because you don't have to put all the tech on your face, right? So that's the differences therein. But I hope that in the next 2 to 3 years, we're talking in glowing responses about PSVR 2 because it's their race to win at this point. Are you still planning on not even looking at the PSVR, Mr. Everborn Saga?
Not a chance.
You're leaving that to me, right? You're conceding that ground to me.
Absolutely. I was hoping you would have got this Quest Pro so we could talk about it. Listen,
I was eager, but then I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. We'll wait. We'll see.
Quick aside before we get into the meat and potatoes, because we really do have to get into that. Did you hear about this Bayonetta actor?